Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly. It's in the description below. My email is tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we are discussing the Omega Constellation Globemaster annual calendar. It launched at Baselworld 2016. It is a META-certified master chronometer and an annual calendar and a constellation. The watch, in a combination of Sedna red gold and stainless steel, measures 41 millimeters in diameter. It's 15 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, it's 50 millimeters with a traditional 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters circumference, and you can see it has quite a lot of presence. It's a large watch. Don't be deceived by the 41 millimeter size. It wears more like a 42 or a 43, which is why I'm going to recommend you have a wrist at least my size, 16 centimeters circumference, if you're going to wear this. You can see it's fairly thick as well, though it will fit underneath jacket cuffs. It is intended as a dress watch, though it has a number of sports watch elements that we'll discuss in a moment. The strap is upscale, large rectangular scale alligator leather, semi-gloss in black. It's bolstered with stuffing to give it volume. It has a monotone stitch, a sheer cut on the side showing the layers of leather, and then calfskin on the bottom. You can see it as a brand new Omega factory strap. It's equipped with a single fold trigger released steel deployant clasp, and you tuck the strap in. The way you size this is you tuck the strap in, you buckle it down between these two tines, and then the excess length sits underneath the buckle and the strap, so there's no excess length visible, and you don't need these gangly little minder loops in order to gather up the excess strap. It's a very clean look. The case band is almost a tonneau more than a round case, and you can see it definitely has some vintage elements drawn more from the 1970s than any other era. We have a satin finished case band. The lugs are squared off on their end. We have a circular satin finish across the tops of the lugs, and then we have a decorative polished bevel on each side that runs the length of the case. We do have Sedna red gold, so called because it has more copper than a standard rose, but it also has more platinum, which prevents it from fading or oxidizing. Now, what we have here is properly described as a coined bezel. This isn't fluted like a Rolex Datejust. This is a much finer gradation. You can see that the individual increments are smaller, narrower, finer, so it's like the edge of a coin. The outer face, the bezel, is polished. We have a little bit of a domed profile to the sapphire because this watch pays tribute to the so-called pie pan constellations of the watch's first decade. Remember, the original constellation came out in 1952. The facets here are put to good use as we have individual months between the hour indices, and then we have an aperture style date. Now, I talked about some of the sports watch features of this watch, and we may as well get them out of the way. Automatic winding, a steel case, and plenty of luminescence. You can see that the watch is easy to read at night. It glows bright and blue. Then we have a lovely anthracite metallic sunburst pie pan style dial with rose gold logo, marquee, a little star to remind you that the original constellations were observatory chronometers, and matching 18 karat rose gold individual indices. Now you can see the watch has a hacking or stop seconds function. So if I want to synchronize it to the second against a reference clock, I can do that. But I also have an intermediate setting position that allows me to set the date as well as the month, so it is a double quick set in that regard. It's an annual calendar that indicates the day and the month. It only needs to be corrected once a year during the jump from February to March, hence annual calendar. Flip it all over and you can see another reminder that the original Connies were observatory chronometers. You have the image of the observatory with the sky beyond. This is master coaxial caliber 8922, so it's been through the METAS test, which is everything the COSC is, but it's also a test in 6 positions, not 5, and of the fully assembled watch, which means it's testing chronometry, yes, to COSC standards, but also shock resistance, anti-magnetism, water resistance, winding efficiency, and power reserve. Recently, Tudor has also started using the master chronometer standard. It's important to remember that the master chronometer standard is one that is open and accessible to all. Though created by Omega in conjunction with the Swiss Federal Institute of Metrology, anyone can submit watches to be certified as master chronometers, and we're seeing more of that now. The automatic winding has a 60-hour power reserve via twin mainspring barrels, which gives you a more even torque release and thus less amplitude surge and reduction than you would find on a conventional single barrel movement, which tend to run fast when fully wound and slow when discharged. You don't have as much of that problem with 2 barrels. It's shock resistant thanks to a full balance bridge and a free spring balance, and it has a number of anti-magnetic features, including but not limited to a silicone hairspring. The watch is resistant to over 15,000 Gauss. That is a minimum, not a maximum. Remember, 1000 Gauss traditionally was 1,000 Gauss. Now we have a coaxial escapement. This is the latest tri-level version of the George Daniels coaxial escapement that he originally envisioned in 1974, sold to Omega in the 90s. They industrialized it in 1999, and now these 8,000 series movements truly realize all the potential of the system, including greater chronometric precision, greater endurance in between services, and less service necessary. We also have a beat rate of 25,200 vibrations per hour, which is a little bit unconventional, but it is typical of silicon hairspring movements throughout the swatch group. And of course, all of this pivots on 39 joules. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.